Yeah.
Yeah, did you get in there? You can use that.
Just try.
That's-
Try.
Chance.
Wait, yeah.
And you can park anywhere. Right.
Yeah. Oh, so-
Oh.
Go, this is going first.
Summer was hot. When?
Well, I wouldn't be scared.
Really?
Hey, folks. Welcome. Welcome to high school orientation night. I hope you all enjoyed. No. We are very honored tonight to have the Blair Elementary School Choir perform. But kids, you just gotta bear with me for 2 minutes because we've got some boring adult stuff that we have to do first. All right. No, this isn't boring, but the Richmond Board of Education acknowledges and thanks the first people of the Huckamian language group on whose traditional and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live. So item number one, visitors announcements and trustee updates. I believe we have one announcement from trustee Larson.
Thank you, trustee Hamaguchi. Briefs regarding the 2025-26 annual budget will be accepted without prior notice at the January 22nd, 2025 regular meeting of the board, as well as the February 19th, 2025 and March 12th, 2025 regular meetings of the board. Please note that budget updates will be made available on the district's budget website. All budget feedback will be considered by the board as part of the budget process, which is anticipated to be completed by April 23rd, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer Wang, any materials not included in packages available to the public?
Thank you, Chairperson. All information has been made public on the district's website.
Thank you. Trustees, the agenda, you see it in front of you. Is there any additions?
Of course.
You want? Yeah, we're gonna add correspondence. We have a letter to add to it. Anything else? All right, with that, trustee Tablani? Okay,
I just wanted to congratulate our new chairperson, trustee Hamaguchi, who was elected at the last organizational meeting, and trustee David Yang was elected vice chair. And I wanted to thank our past chair, trustee Heather Larson, for all the hard work that she put forward during the last year. Chairperson is a busy job. So I just wanted to thank her for her ethical leadership and everything that she did for the board. So that's it for me. It was quick, but I felt that it needed to be said.
thank you. With that being said, gotta get a mover and a seconder for the agenda. Trustee Sargent, thank you. Trustee Yang, seconder, all in favor? Wonderful. All right, cross that one off the list. Let's move on to the good stuff. Item 3 is our presentations, and we have a special presentation from Blair Elementary School. Tonight, we have 2 classes from Blair Elementary performing 3 songs for you. Division 5, a grade 3-4 class, and Division 6, a grade 2-3 class, will be performing Little Black Dog, Child of the World, and Hot Chocolate. Enjoy, everyone.
Don't you run so far. Oh, little black dog, oh, little black dog, don't run so far, don't run so far. Keep an eye on the trucks and the cars. Keep an nose for porcupines in the dark. Little black dog, don't you run so far. The world is wide, it's high, and that works me today at night. I know sometimes you must be. Just remember, come back to me. Oh, little black dog, don't run so far, don't run so far. Keep it out. The trucks and the cars, keep a nose for porcupines in the dark. Little black dog, don't you run so far. Don't run so far, don't run so far, keep an eye. The trucks and the cars, keep a nose for porcupines in the dark. Little black dog, don't you run so far. Little black dog, don't you run so far. Little black dog, don't you run so far. We see the same song, we share the same pain. My dreams are your dreams, and hopes. Your cares are my cares. Let your heart join with mine, for I am the child of the world. We walk the same earth, we watch the same sun, we feel the same joy and we ask the world. let go, boys, boys, for I am the child of the world. For I am a child of the world. Hot, hot chocolate. It's my favorite stuff. When the weather is freezing and the winter ice, there is nothing more pleasing than a hug of paradise. I can't get enough. Hot, 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 hot chocolate. It's my favorite stuff. Hot, hot chocolate. Hot, hot chocolate. Hot, hot chocolate, make it steamy. Hot, hot chocolate, rich and creamy. Hot, hot chocolate, make it steamy. Hot, hot chocolate, rich and creamy. Fill me up to the top of my cup. I'm gonna drink every cup. Hot, hot, hot chocolate. I can't get enough. Hot, 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 hot chocolate. It's my favorite stuff. I can't get enough. I need a fix that runs back for a minute.
Wow.
Everyone, thank you very, boys and girls, that was amazing. You guys are incredible. Now, I know all the trustees have comments to make, so we're going to start down the far end and we're going to work our way down and Trustee Beliza, is there anything you want to?
Thank you for a wonderful renditions of the power of music, which is a language of the soul. Thanks again. You make us happy. Thank you.
Trustee
Yeah.
Sergeant?
Thank you. Our sign says our focus is on the learner, and we try to remember your faces in our brain when we're making decisions. And tonight was just so good. Fills us up so we can try and make good decisions for all of you. And thank you and happy holidays. And we hope you have so much fun and restful times and maybe some hot chocolate.
Trustee Yang?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, I want to thank all of you. What a job well done. And you all look fabulous for the performance and certainly did very well. I'm sure the parents and guardians can agree to that. I did want to also thank, I know they're standing in the back, but Catherine Jewell, our district administrator for fine arts, she's She does it all. She makes things, she makes things happen in our district for fine arts, and we couldn't be more proud of your work. Same goes for Mr. Andrew Livingston back there, our Blair principal. Thank you very much. To our music teacher, didn't catch your name, but
Already back?
yes, thank you very much for all your hard work. And thank you to the parents. I hope you all got great photos. Have a wonderful winter break and a wonderful holiday season, whichever holiday you may celebrate. And you have a great new year as well.
Trustee Larson.
I was lucky to hear the hot chocolate song this morning, and I've had it in my mind all day. It was wonderful. And you know, have you ever heard of the words tears of happiness? Yeah, I had those when you were singing this morning, and I had them a little bit tonight. So thank you for that. And your smiles and your voices are just wonderful. And I wanted to thank the teacher because the smile on your face and the passion when you do the eyes and the smile, I was mesmerized. So thank you for putting that passion into these wonderful kids. Thank you.
Trustee Wong.
So thank you for all the parents show up and support the student here. And really amazing performance tonight and advance on the Christmas. We can see all the students here really confident and empowered for sing the song, the 3 songs. So the parents are really support here, and then we can see I can say that maybe a whole family of each student come here to get to see them the performance. Yeah, actually, yes, I have best wishes to all of you. Have a happy holiday. Thank you.
And Trustee Tablotny.
I wanted to first thank all the parents for filling our boardroom. We don't usually have that, so it's kind of exciting. And at this time of the year, it's wonderful to have young people come and show us their talents, and it's great that you have a teacher that's willing to bring you out and showcase you to all the trustees and make our evening and make our meeting more exciting. And I really enjoyed the little black dog song. I have 2 big black and white, and they run too far. And then they run back and knock me over. So I appreciated that song. I thought it was very cute. I'm gonna have to sing my dogs now.
Sure.
But it was fantastic, and I hope you have a very exciting Christmas.
I'm just gonna say quick.
Best Christmas wishes to everybody here. It was, this is the highlight of the year. It's so much fun. So thank you for coming out and entertaining us.
Hey, Superintendent Yusi, would you like
Well,
final words?
thank you very much. Just wonderful. So proud. I was so proud of our students, and of course, I saw the smiles and all the wonderful. I think I concur with trustees. The best way to get parents anywhere is to make sure that the children perform. Then that's guaranteed attendance. I won't repeat the fact that we have wonderful staff who just gave their time and their attention to making sure that our students experience success. And this is an example of what the excellence that happens across the Richmond School District. And this is possible because you as parents, parents and grandparents and family and friends, you continue to support our young people. And that's why we're one of the best districts. And I'm so proud that when I visit schools, I get to see this excellence happen in our schools across the district. So thank you very much for being here tonight. And of course, I too would like to wish each and everyone and your families the very best of the holidays. Thank you.
So that brings an end to this part of the program. Thank you all very much. You made it a very, very special night for all of us, and we really appreciate that. I believe there's some goodies outside there. So you guys enjoy. And once again, thank you very much for coming. Parent, thank you all for coming as well. I don't know where they all park. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
So hot.
Huge. Look at the views. Wow. It's really pretty.
That was good. That was a good, considering that.
You know what?
Yes.
Little kids' voices, they're just so distinct, right? They got that high pitch.
Makes you emotional.
Oh,
That's, and you just like that, at this weather.
Yeah. Can't wait till my granddaughter wears sparkles.
It's like adult.
Yeah, stay in the moment.
Yeah.
Snap for a while.
yeah, she was good, the teacher. Man, she was really got them going.
Oh.
You're sitting behind her, but man, her expression
Oh,
and
you could
everything.
see her here. yeah.
Yeah, she was really good. Oh, was it? Oh,
It was beautiful.
oh my God. He graduated last year from McNair, Ali. He always jokes he wants Chris's job.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure, yours now. You have that song in your head.
All right, we gotta get through this pretty quickly.
Doing that.
Well, no, it's one that is,
On camera, we're gonna be doing that. Okay.
School is this.
For the judge.
It's excited.
To see them.
with the monitor.
Mechanic. Yeah, mechanic. Holy smokes. These are the Mitchell Elementary. What particular they use? We get rolling. Oh. All right, welcome everyone. We're actually sort of in the middle of our board meeting. So we're just gonna sort of run through this. I'm gonna get to you guys as fast as we can, so you could just hang tough for a second. Trustees, we have no briefs, we have no special recognitions. That's part of item 3. Item 4, questions from the public. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come forward with questions regarding agenda items. Okay, don't see later. Thanks. All right. So we're going to move on to the executive. Superintendent Yusi, that's your department.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good evening, parents who are present, and of course, our wonderful students who are in the audience. We just had the benefit of a wonderful presentation, a choir from students, Blair. And it just, again, anytime we have students in the boardroom, it just reminds us of the reason why we do the work that we do. So I just have just a few remarks. As you know, this is the last board meeting before the winter break. So as we approach the break, I just wanted to just again express how incredibly grateful I am to work in a school district and in a community that works together to make sure that young people and the future of our young people and our city, the province, and the country is in good hands. And it's what a wonderful opportunity to see that firsthand each and every day as we do this work. And we do it together with families, with all our partners, and it's everyone working together that makes the Richmond School District truly the best place to learn and lead. So much to celebrate in our district. I'm particularly proud of, again, the collaboration that happens across in our schools and workplaces across the district. I certainly want to thank staff for their dedication and commitment to the work that happens each day. And that excellence is because we have dedicated, caring people in this organization. Of course, I'd like to thank families as well, to our parents and families and friends, grandparents, and everyone who's who just again make sure that by working together with schools is the way that our young people receive the best education possible. And since this is the final board meeting in the calendar year, I also want to thank trustees and our Board of Education just for advocating for the needs of our students and our families in the city. You probably don't see that all the time, but this board, I've been very impressed in the little over a year that I've been here, the constant focus on students and their learning. And our trustees always remind us of that signage back there. Our focus is on the learner. And that's a good reminder as we do this work. So tonight, you will hear from staff on the progress that we continue to make that is connected to our current strategic plan. We have a strategic plan in the organization, 2020-2025. And I'm proud of all the accomplishments. And you'll hear from our wonderful team. They'll talk to you about the work that is happening and the work that continues to happen. And as we look forward to the new year, 2025, we're excited about the opportunities and possibilities that lie ahead for our district. One of the major undertakings for our district is the development of a new strategic plan that will guide our district for the next 5 years. That's a major undertaking. That's not something that will take lightly because that's a major undertaking that will build on the good work and the successes of our district. So we're not starting from scratch. The good news is that there's lots of good work. But at the same time, we also recognize that like any other organization where you have strong results, we're committed to continuous improvement. Certainly the board expects that of the work that we do each day. The question always is, yes, we have a lot of strong results in our district, but we can always do more to make sure that students who are at this level get to that level, students who are at this level get to that level. And that is the spirit of the continuous improvement that is in place. So we look forward to engaging with our community, with staff, students, parents, caregivers, and certainly the public at large, the entire Richmond community, as we engage in this process to help us shape the plan, because really it's not just the plan of the school district, it's our plan collectively as a community to make sure that the strategic plan reflects the current, the build on the successes, and also look forward to the future. 5 years from now, it may seem like a long time, seem like a long time, but we know that there are a lot of changes happening in society. in technology and elsewhere. And the young people who are sitting in this room will be living in a very different world than the one that you and I lived in. So our job is to do the best we can to anticipate what knowledge and skills that they will need to prepare them for that future. And that's exciting. That's an exciting undertaking, and you will help us shape that plan. And that's exciting. We remain committed to fostering a culture of excellence, innovation, and inclusivity. Together, we'll continue to build on our successes and address any challenges that may arise, because we can always predict the future. But the best thing we can do is plan and be agile so that we are able to make those adjustments as we go forward. And in anticipating what that future looks like requires us to always ask ourselves the questions. Are there areas for improvement? Are there things we can do a little differently? And that is the task that is before us. The holidays are certainly coming up, and it's a time for reflection, for gratitude and celebration. I would like to wish everyone, wish our staff, students, and families joyous and peaceful holiday season. So at this time, I would like to invite Assistant Superintendent Nasser to introduce a group of young learners from Mitchell Elementary School. They don't need much introduction, but we'll introduce them. And what you'll hear is a presentation that is aligned with our strategic priority 1, which is inspired learners. And they will present on computational fluency. So these are young people who speak my language as a former math teacher. So wait to be amazed. Over to you, Assistant Superintendent Nasser.
Thanks so much, Superintendent Usi. Good evening, everyone. So nice to see everybody this evening, and really wonderful to have our boardroom, as the superintendent said, full of students in particular. We're pleased this evening to have some very special guests from Mitchell School who have been doing some amazing work in the area of numeracy. Work that aligns, as Superintendent Usi said, with our board strategic priority number 1, inspired learners. Numeracy has been an area of focus for us this year, and we're so honored to have our students and staff from Mitchell here this evening to share some of the work that they've been doing. And really, they're here to provide you with a window into the classroom. At this time, I'd like to turn it to our Director of Instruction, Brooke Douglas, who will introduce our students and educators.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to first of all introduce the staff that are with the Mitchell community this evening. And so we have with us Principal Val Carriere and Vice Principal Christy Narbet. We also have some teachers, Bonnie Yip, Lisa Chang Darwoon, Sophia Duji, and we have a teacher candidate from UBC with us this evening as well, Nicole Mendoza. This is a K-4 group that have been working on an inquiry project in numeracy with our teacher consultant for numeracy, Janice Nowakowski. And so I'm going to let her kind of launch the activities. It is interactive. And what I will say is when you hear the bell ring, it's time to end your activity. Without further ado, here is Janice Nowakowski.
Hello, it's an honor to be here this evening. Mitchell is one of 5 schools in our district that have a Classroom Enhancement Fund project that focuses on numeracy. So there's a team of educators and the administrators who are working together around some specific goals. And I'm just going to read out one of their goals, and their inquiry questions is around building confidence in math through playful learning and discourse. So this inquiry or project came from teachers' observations, student surveys, how they felt about math, and data from things like FSAs, et cetera. And as a staff and as a group, they came together and decided that they really wanted to focus on building students' confidence. And the area that we've been focusing on most is computational fluency, which is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, making sense of numbers. And so building those really strong math foundations so that students can engage in numeracy tasks and develop financial literacy. But we need those math foundations first. And so students are going to be sharing some math games this evening, as well as something called a concept circle. And a concept circle is something we see in many classrooms across Richmond. It helps develop a concept in mathematics, like around a number or concept like multiplication or fractions, using materials and language. And it's a research-based structure that comes out of English language learning research. I will mention that 2 of the classes that are here are French immersion classes, and they have been playing these games in French. So they may revert to French every once in a while as they're playing games with you. So the older students, the grade 2 to 4 students, will be playing a game called Salute, and it's a card game. So 2 of them are going to come up to some of you, and you're going to be the third person, and they're going to explain the card game to you. It focuses on adding and algebraic thinking. It's very fun. In French, it's salut, and in English, salute. And then the younger children are going to be bringing the concept circles up to the table, and they have some materials to share with you. You're going to choose a number, and they're going to show you all the different ways they can represent and build that number. Okay? So this is a playful experience in mathematics. It really mirrors what we're trying to encourage in our classrooms, building content knowledge along with curricular competencies and having a joyful collaborative experience in learning math that is also social and fun. All right, so we're going to turn it over to the students. They're very well prepared. So you can get up in your partners and go and choose an adult to play with. All right. I know.
It's not easy for young people to do that, right?
Jamie Craig and the presentation, and so if there are any questions.
Yes.
comments,
Wow.
I'm sure there's lots of comments and probably some questions. Let's start down at this end here and we'll work our way through. Trustee Tablotny, any questions or comments for these math geniuses?
Well, when I was in school, I didn't like math, but I mean, the way you guys are learning it, I think it's fantastic. So do you guys, does anyone want to comment? Do you find it fun? And do you feel like you're playing games instead of doing math? Well, I think it's really great. I'm just having a coughing fit, so I'll turn it over.
Okay, Trustee Wong?
Chairman. So we have a group with the student rest and now I know that how many ways you can just count the number. Okay, so it's really interesting for you to learn and have a game and group together to how to count the number. This is not as hard for you guys. But I have a really happy and really interesting how to get more, right? How to learn more. Thank you.
Trustee Larson?
I had two boys that taught me a game with cards that you had to put a card on your forehead. And then one person said the total, but they all had different numbers and you had to guess your number. I did get to guess right twice. So they got it like that every time, which was great. And it was fun. I'd love to learn that game because I have grandchildren that would love to play it. So thank you very much. And they also did a great job teaching me how to play. And that's not, so thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Yang?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yeah, great job, boys and girls, for showing us how math is learned in your classrooms. I want to thank Leo and Enzo for playing with me here. Our little wheel, it's not wheel of fortune, but our little wheel of math. Yes, but certainly for. I want to take this opportunity to thank staff as well at Mitchell for all their work and parents as well, because the learning doesn't just end after the bell rings. A lot of that happens at home with the support of parents. So this is all going towards a very strategic goal in building student confidence and literacy in numbers, which is certainly important. So good work, bon travail, and we'll see you next time.
Trustee Sargent?
Thank you very much. Well, thank you to staff for bringing the classroom into the boardroom. I think that was the first time I've done that in all my years. It was very fun. And I really want to thank the two gentlemen that were helping me. I forgot your names, but it was exceptional. Thank you. And we played the card game and I was making errors because I wasn't counting Jack. I was counting them like we do, they're 10. And they said, we'll give you a tip. A Jack is this, a queen is. And that was after the second time. So I just think I was making errors and you were so empathetic and so great. And I think errors are fantastic. And I felt like I was learning because you were teaching me and I still felt good about it. And so I just wanted to thank the students for really, it's a tough gig coming up here to the table and teaching us older dogs new tricks. And no, I just think the world is in good shape. And you are all fantastic at math. And if you make some errors, celebrate that and learn from it. So thank you to my two teachers. I really appreciated them.
Trustee Beliza?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for teaching me the concept of addition and subtraction. You know, thank for the parents for being the teachers and the support and the executive staff and your principal. So my question would be this. If I want to have more savings for the future, should I use addition or subtraction? What do you think? And can you imagine the savings that you're gonna have, not only for 1 month, for the rest of your life? I think someday I can find each of you to be financially free and enjoy financial freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, when it comes down to it, I mean, learning is learning, but when it's fun, like it was here, it makes it so much more easier to do. And so for that, I thank the teachers, for making learning fun. And, I mean, math is always important because you always got to count something. And so, you're never going to go wrong by working on your math, but, thankfully you have great teachers who make the learning fun and, seems to show because you all seem to have the game down pretty good and, you all seem to be happy students. So that makes us happy. All right. Now, is there anything else okay. You know, on behalf of the board, we want to thank you all for coming up. Parents, thank you very much for coming as well. It's great to support the kids and, when it's not exists, like, why wouldn't you come, right? Oh, all right, you guys, thank you very much.
Oh, my goodness.
Who's in the gallery now?
They have a little flashcard. You know, wait. We did 12 times table, so like 12 times, 140. Son, he's in high school. I go, okay, what's 8 times 12? I don't know. You know, it's like, let me get my calculator. And I thought, are you kidding me? So I'm glad that they're doing,
something.
yeah,
Did you play the card game with the forehead one?
Yeah.
yeah. That reminds me of, we're playing poker.
It's great.
Oh, the one, they didn't tell me this.
Okay, we'll get started in about 30 seconds.
Great.
Yeah, just saying, when they pulled the card game, when you hold it up your forehead, we're playing poker. Okay. There are no briefs, no special recognitions. Okay, sorry, I'm behind the schedule here. We went through all that already. And we are now at item number 6. All right. Okay, folks, there's record of an in-camera meeting of the board held Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Another record of an in-camera meeting, special meeting held on the board by the board on Thursday, December 5th. But we have 2 sets of minutes that we have to vote on. There was an organizational meeting for the board held Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. You all have it. Are there any errors, omissions? Not seeing any. Can I get a mover? Thank you, trustee Sargent. Trustee Yang, seconder, all in favor? Thank you. We have a regular meeting of the board held Wednesday, November 20th, 2024 for approval. It's in your package. Are there any errors or omissions? Not seeing any. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Trustee Larson, thank you. And trustee Wong, second it. All in favor? All good. Okay, moving on to item 7, our business arising from prior minutes. We have we're talking about our strategic plan. There's a quarterly update regarding strategic priority number 1 and number 2. We have staff presenting on this.
Good evening. We are presenting our quarterly report tonight on strategic priority 1 and 2. So an update since the annual report in September. Assistant Superintendent Nasser is going to present about strategic priority 1, but she's just saying her goodbyes to the group that was just in here. So we will use our math and we will go out of order and start with strategic priority 2, which just means I need to fast forward our slides a little bit here. So don't look because it will ruin the surprise. Okay, here we are. So strategic priority 2, of course, is equity and inclusion. So the work within strategic priority 2, goal 1, really supports and expands on our mission to ensure that all students, families, and staff feel welcome, are treated respectfully, and experience a sense of belonging. Some of the highlights that support learning environments being equitable and inclusive include educators being provided with opportunities to learn about well-being. For example, the November Intermediate Mini Conference this year included opportunities to learn about how to strengthen identity and belonging for our students. Students also get opportunities, for example, the keynote speaker who's secured for this February Student Voice Forum is focused on identity and belonging through story. And student leaders focus on identity and belonging in leading district groups like Table 38 and in their schools through projects like interactive artwork and collective events to build belonging at school with a focus on individual and collective identity. The Ministry of Education and Childcare values and asks us to report on student well-being and belonging annually. Therefore, we're developing a district data gathering tool, an electronic survey, and focus group questions on student sense of belonging. And that is planned to be ready for implementation in January 2025. This tool is meant to supplement the provincial tools that tend to target only certain grade groups and are embedded in other larger processes like the Student Learning Survey for grades 4, 7, and 10. And the intention of this is to get a focused snapshot on this data for school and district use. Actions that are completed or in progress that support and highlight providing equitable and inclusive learning opportunities for all learners includes an accessible playground at Aspen is complete and has been in use since September. There are now accessible architectural signage at 4 sites. A project to update resources for ELL learners that will diversify and ensure representation of identity and diversity of students in resource collections is set to launch in January. There continue to be opportunities for staff to collaborate and learn together to support inclusive learning practices, such as in-services that are provided in September and throughout the school year for school teams of principals and vice principals and resource teachers with ongoing collaboration and regular monthly meetings. Every 3rd Wednesday, resource teachers meet together online to understand policies and practices related to inclusive education and to deepen their practice. Topics include inclusive reporting, IEP writing, and programming support. And there are inclusive education updates at monthly elementary principal, vice principal meetings and secondary inclusive learning networks. Ongoing support for schools is provided by school visits from teacher consultants, district administrators, directors of instruction, and assistant superintendents to support and facilitate inclusive educational practices. The work that supports Goal 2, the district actively addresses unconscious bias and privilege, systemic discrimination, and marginalization based on factors such as ability, color, cultural identity, gender identity, indigeneity, political beliefs, race, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. Include a project to engage student voice of English language learners in particular. A student survey has been developed by the inclusion team to get feedback and perspectives from ELL students around their school experience and their access to opportunities. This survey is going to close on December 18th, and findings will drive forward planning around supporting ELL students based on their reported experience. This data gathering tool is going to help us identify how we can meet the needs of learners and reduce ELL learners and reduce barriers to their success. There's a focus in professional learning on proactive strategies to reduce barriers and discrimination, ways to provide professional learning to teachers, support staff, and administrative staff through lunch and learns, large-scale conferences, and smaller workshops and book clubs. This year's non-instructional day for all employees will focus on the First People's Principles of Learning, and that is scheduled for May. We have continued the anti-racism consultant position to support the work of adults in all our departments through presentations and small group consultations related to specific issues. And finally, final slide for me. The Indigenous Community Night in November was attended by 175 Indigenous students and their family members. There have been focused conversations at each of our secondary schools this fall with school and district staff to support specific needs of our Indigenous learners. The Indigenous gathering spaces that are at McNeil, Brower, Kidd, and Boyd are used for cultural programs, elder talks, gatherings, parent connections, student drop-in, and academic support, all with the purpose of building community for our Indigenous Indigenous students who attend our school in our district. Students report feeling safe and welcome, and they go there to seek community. They have a voice in setting up and indigenizing the spaces to reflect their cultures. And indigenization of the spaces continues with artifacts, culturally relevant materials, artwork, and cultural experiences. We also have 3 advisory committees that are active related to strategic priority 2, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee, the Indigenous Education Advisory Council, and the SOGI Advisory Committee, who will continue to meet regularly this year and do the work related to the priorities of those committees. And now we'll go back to priority 1. I'll set the slides back. Remember, don't peek on the way back.
Okay, thanks so much, and apologies for taking us out of sequence. So I'm going to speak about strategic priority number 1, which is inspired learners. This priority focuses on fostering welcoming and inclusive learning environments where every student can thrive. The goals and objectives target high quality curriculum and assessment practices, a focus on student well-being, and the intentional integration of First Peoples principles of learning. I'll share just a few highlights. Of course, in your report, you have a more comprehensive update of the work that's taken place so far in this area. Oh, there we go. This year, we're proud to have inquiry projects happening across the district. We have a variety of projects underway designed to support and enhance curriculum and assessment across the district. Again, we have 116 inquiry projects. Last year, we had, I believe, 114 projects. So we continue to have educators very engaged in inquiry. The projects range across a number of topics, and you can see on the screen there the different areas that teacher inquiry in our district is focused on at this time. Teachers that are successful in their inquiry projects that they put forth do receive some collaboration time as well as funds to source resources that they may require for their inquiry project. As well, our teacher consultants support all of the inquiry-based projects, and so there's an element of professional learning and collaboration that occurs with the district team as well through the inquiry projects. Literacy and numeracy continue to be areas of focus for us. Last year, staff created frameworks for literacy and numeracy. I'm sure you've heard reference to the pillars of literacy and numeracy foundations. Building on these frameworks, our focus this year is on implementing strategies to strengthen literacy and numeracy teaching practices across the district. So earlier this evening, you saw an example of one of these projects from Mitchell Elementary. With the support of the Richmond Teachers Association, we've been able to provide release time for 17 of our elementary schools to advance specific literacy and numeracy initiatives. And within those schools, there are a number of schools that are engaged in more than one project. And so they may be working in both of the areas within literacy and numeracy. Additionally, all secondary schools in the district have been allocated 2 dedicated blocks of time to further enhance literacy and numeracy instruction. And this slide provides you with a brief summary of the kinds of projects that are happening within our secondary schools. So as you can see, specific areas of focus include strengthening fundamental numeracy and literacy skills, exploring cross-curricular projects that connect learning in meaningful and engaging ways, and developing student confidence in their literacy skills. And finally, in the area of curriculum and instruction, I'd like to highlight professional learning opportunities for our staff. Our district continues to demonstrate strong commitment to supporting professional growth at both the district, the school, and the individual level. So the opportunities for staff that they can access vary to meet individual needs. For example, current offerings include book clubs, workshops, lunch and learns, and access to digital resources, to name a few. All of these sessions are advertised through our RichNet and consistently draw strong participation. A recent highlight that I'd like to share is the Elementary Mini Conference, which took place on November the 25th. We had two keynote presenters at that conference and hosted a total of 550 educators at the mini conference. The keynotes were Hannah Beach, who focused on the importance of play in reducing anxiety, and Destin Lord, who provided a session on anti-racism for intermediate teachers. And I believe with that, I'm passing the baton.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll just touch on a few highlights that connect to specifically to the mental health and well-being component of Goal 2 about fostering resilient and healthy lifelong learners. So a couple of highlights from the beginning of the year are a continued support for the Everyday Anxiety Strategies for Educators framework, which is through the Healthy Minds BC website. Many of our counselors and our curriculum and coordinators support educators. Of note this year, there's now everyday anxiety strategies for the early years, and all of our early years early childhood educators engaged in this training this fall, which is very exciting. The ministry also recently refreshed the Erase website, which is now linked on every single school website, and there's quite a plethora of resources and information for students, staff, and educators and families there. So we're watching and looking to see the increased clicks on the Erase website. It's nice to see people using that as a resource. Secondly, in the early January, we'll be looking at the Middle Years Development Index, which provides really good data from our grade 5 and grade 8 students. They tell us how they're doing in terms of their well-being, what's working well for them, what are some areas that they need more support, and helps to provide us with some data to make decisions about how we support our learners. And last but not least, we have a 4-part parent education series this year, which really looks at the continuation of health and well-being, not just at school, but also in our home and community. We've already had one session with Safer Schools Together. We had over 200 parents register, slightly less attended, but we're still very excited to see folks turning up and coming out for these virtual sessions. We're also really excited that Hannah Beach, who was one of our keynotes at the Elementary Mini Conference that Assistant Superintendent Nasser just spoke about, will be providing 2 parent education sessions, one in January and one in February. She's now presented to multiple different staff groups, including both elementary and secondary educators. Feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. So we really encourage folks who are attending online this meeting or just folks in our community. It is a free online session with Hannah Beach. They're 90 minutes. January will be focused on healthy cell phone habits and supporting families with making decisions about cell phones. And February is focused on reclaiming play and how that connects to student well-being and anxiety. So we're really proud of that work and of all the folks who are supporting that.
Thank you. And just actually building upon what Assistant Superintendent, the wrong name, Thompson
by the way.
Was commenting on around cell phone use. It's a good example of how our strategic plan has to remain a living document. And all of a sudden things changed and the landscape around personal digital device use changed in the past year. And we had to be responsive to that. So the Ministry of Education, as you know, the Ministry of Education and Childcare amended the provincial standards for the Code of Conduct Order effective July 2024, requiring school districts to implement policy and guidelines to restrict the use of personal digital devices to promote online safety and focused learning environments. Through a collaborative process, acceptable use guidelines were created and have been successfully implemented across all of our schools. The success we have experienced can be contributed in a large part to the support of our partner groups. The district provided communication to all parents, school principals and vice principals, educated parents and students during the start of the school process, and have supported staff and their students in their buildings. And teachers and support staff have engaged in conversations with students in classrooms and have continued to remind students about the acceptable use of personal digital devices. We continue to hear feedback from our schools, parents and guardians, and students that these guidelines have made a positive impact on student learning and engagement. Teaching students about self-regulating their use of digital devices is an important skill in this digital age and supports their overall well-being. So with that, Strategic priority 1 and strategic priority 2. The more detailed report is included within your agenda package. And this is our annual update. So we are more than happy to accept and respond to any questions you may have.
All right, folks. Are there any questions? I see trustee Sargent followed by trustee Beliza.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to the discussion of how we integrate all this into the next strat plan. So that'll be a good combo. Just the highlights for me were the ELL student survey. I think that I'd be really interested to see, good on you for doing that. Really interested to see the data and how their sense of belonging and what comes out of that. And then the inquiry projects. I just think that's a fantastic way to go about it. And then the parent sessions. Wow, how good is that? So I applaud you for doing those. And I think the media around it, or the social media, David Sadler, their team are doing, I'm really seeing it. I'm seeing it out there. So I would really encourage you to do more of those. So quick question, translation for the parent sessions, and then the inquiry projects. Can you just remind me how, I know you have a reporting out session, but how that really helps other people? What do the teams do as far as sharing with other staff? And is that kind of organized or? Yeah, so a couple questions, but great.
Yeah, I'll respond to the parent education question. Thank you so much for the question. And we're very excited that we're working with our Learning and Business Technologies department. There is a feature on our Zoom webinar license that we're able to enable, which allows the participants to choose their own closed captioning in the language of their choice. So what we are not able to do is translate the slide deck live. But we are going to work with our Swiss team to try and do a summary of the slide deck, but there will be closed captioning in a language of choice during the session. Yeah.
I'm happy to respond to the question regarding inquiry projects. And so you're quite right. There is an opportunity, a culminating event that takes place at the end of the year where teams celebrate their successes, but also share some of their learnings that have happened along the way. And so that is one opportunity to cross-pollinate ideas across districts. And another important one is throughout schools. So it can be a small number of teachers within one school that have an inquiry project, but their colleagues in that school also are exposed to that project, the work that's happening. And so there's a lot of sharing of ideas and growing in terms of the depth from one year to the next in these projects as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Trustee Beliza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for this very good and comprehensive report. And my question relates to digital literacy. It's on page 26. It mentioned about digital literacy framework in its final draft. I wish I could say I'm literate, I have this digital literacy. But I'd like to know more about the framework as it relates to literacy, artificial intelligence, and the use of digital devices. So can you tell me more about it?
Thank you for the question. I'm happy to respond to that. And I'd be very happy to bring more information back to the board once that has been finalized. Artificial intelligence is a massive piece that has changed the dynamic of technology within the past 2 years. So we've taken some time, or we are currently taking some time to work through the development of that framework because it is such a new technology and it continues to change daily. So we are working on the development of building some acceptable use guidelines for artificial intelligence and embedding that in connection with kind of digital literacy across the board. So looking at digital citizenship, looking at different strategies that staff and students can use to engage with technology as a tool, looking at healthy habits when it comes to use of technology. All of those different pieces are being embedded within a framework. So just like we have frameworks for literacy and the frameworks for numeracy, which are extremely comprehensive and super valuable documents for staff, we are working on finalizing and building a similar structure around digital literacy.
And if I can follow up, there's mention about Chat GPT, where you could type and probably have whatever speech or, comments you have, and it will provide you either a speech or many informations. I've been wondering if students would use this in our classroom, and we talked about plagiarism and other issues that would arise from that exercise. Would this be included in our framework, so that we could make sure that, it's being used in a positive ways? Thank you.
Yes, if I may respond. So absolutely, that is being built into the guidelines that we are developing. There are many factors when it comes to generative artificial intelligence, looking at the security and privacy of those tools and the information that is inputted and where does that information go. There are also factors around the accuracy of the information that it generates, and how are we building skills and capacity in all of our users to be able to thoughtfully assess and look at triangulating the data to make sure that they have right information that they have. When we talk about kind of academic honesty for the work, there's conversations with students, but there's also conversations that have to happen with staff around what are the questions that we are asking students and how are we phrasing those questions so that it's potentially more than something that you could put in as a prompt and have it generate for you, and instead look at questions that require applications and all different pieces to be brought together. So there's bias, there's a whole bunch of different pieces within generative AI, and all of those pieces we're trying to address within the guidelines that we're building.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Trustee Yang, followed by Trustee Larson, then Trustee DeBlock.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and as always, thank you very much to staff for bringing forward these updates, and certainly very comprehensive and filled with important updates for us as a board. So appreciative of that. And yeah, I think Trustee Sargent mentioned earlier, but I certainly appreciate the emphasis on the ELL work that we're doing in our district, and it's certainly highlighted in the report here. And given that our district is somewhere around 1/3 ELL students, this is an area that certainly deserves work and attention. And I think throughout priority, the reporting on priority 1 and 2, but particularly priority 1, you can really see the innovation that's happening in our district, whether it's through our inquiry grants or just the projects that really embodies the spirit. Oh, let's try something new and see if it'll get anywhere and improve outcomes. And so very much commend staff at all levels for doing that. Now, the one question I do have, I guess, relates to priority 1, goal 3, but I guess also related to the entirety of priority 2, and that is on the issue of textbooks. Because, oftentimes what you'll find is, as we discuss Indigenous education and subject matter, that often some of these resources are simply outdated with perhaps not the most appropriate language and content. And so what is that on staff's radar, and are there any steps or plans to address some of these gaps?
Thanks for the question. With regard to assessing resources, as you've pointed out, this work is becoming more challenging for us as the nature of the resources change, and as we continue to learn, particularly in the area of Indigenous education. And so those days are gone where we have textbooks that have been vetted and don't get out of date as quickly. And so because we're dealing with resource human resources as well as print and digital resources. We are moving towards more of a model of working with staff on how you assess a resource rather than having a list of what we would have done in the past of approved resources. So there's a number of things particular to Indigenous education that we're doing. One is, of course, we're guided by Focused Education, who do provide us with very comprehensive tools on how to assess resources when you're considering the use in classrooms. As well, our District Resource Center has a number of kits and tools that have been created for teacher use. And those tools, of course, are Indigenous education. Our teacher consultants in this area have had a hand in creating these resources for teachers and supporting them in their use in the classrooms. But certainly this is more complex work than it ever has been, and it continues to evolve and grow, and we continue to respond to those when we know more, to making sure we're sharing with staff and engaging a number of partners.
Thanks for that, and keep up the great work.
Trustee Larson, followed by Trustee Sargent.
Thank you.
Also, Trustee Dubani.
Oh.
No, you're up.
It's okay? Okay, thank you. I'm always fascinated by strategic priority 2, equity and inclusion, having been an EA for a long time. And what fascinates me is there's so many references to belonging. And I made myself like a little, and I put belonging in the middle, and then with the lines out, connecting, welcoming, safety, friendships, all of those things that I think are a big part of belonging for everyone. And it just, because we just know if you're not connecting and you don't feel safe and if you don't feel belonging, it's difficult to learn. It's hard enough to learn when everything is perfect. So I've seen when I've been in a school visiting, I've seen a little following behind the custodian. I've seen people talking to the, what do you call, I know they're not secretaries, I shouldn't say that. They're administrative assistants. They're down in the office. It's like kids know how to find someone, or they find someone because that someone has been safe. And the way this is laid out, you can really feel what's happening, the gathering spaces, the fact that we're working on safety for kids all throughout the schools. It's made a difference. So thank you for that, because that belonging, because I think when I think, what does belonging mean? Because it's a little bit different, I would guess, to everybody, depending on what their belonging is. It might be just somebody being kind, or it might be whatever. So I really appreciate the breakdown of how you've presented this. And yeah, I just want to say thank you. I've seen it. And that's really exciting when you actually see it too. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Larson. Trustee Dewatney?
Yeah. Well, this was very interesting reading. And I was, really excited to read about the 116 grants and the 12 areas and 200 educators. I mean, that's amazing. Some of the topics, the outdoor learning, I think that's fantastic. And I'm hoping that we get to see the outcome of their projects and what they've discovered. And I believe that happens sort of at the end of the year is it May or something? Anyway, because, we talk a lot about the digital changes in the digital world, and we also need to get kids away from the digital world and to explore the outdoors and to learn about gardening and growing and exploring. So I think that's fantastic. And then the mini conference, the effect of anxiety on student behavior. I think that is really important. And I was glad to see it hear that there's a focus on that because students are getting more and more anxious and, and it seems to be quite problematic. So I think that's fantastic that there's inquiry into that and, finding ways to manage it. Because it's awful for a student to be in a classroom with anxiety. But, none of this before, when we used to do just planning and strategic planning, none of it was as detailed as this. And to get these reports and to see the outcomes and the things that are being done listed here, it's just amazing. And it makes me feel quite proud that all these things are happening. And I wonder just how they're all happening because it just seems to be a busy world out there with even with just priority 1 and 2, let alone all the others. So I just think it's amazing work and it's so nice to see it and get these reports because we didn't have this before. In all my years as a trustee, we did not get this kind of detail. So it makes us feel very confident because our job is to for students to be, to enhance student learning and ensure student success. And that's our job, and I can see that it's happening here. So thank you very much for the reports. It just blows me away. Thanks.
Other questions? Trustee Wong, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. So, thank you for just like the comprehensive report on today. So I just see that we allow as the board, the district is enhanced on the personal learning. And you have every goal on improvement is the resource. If you have any requirement for resource or need to implement for goal, so really happy to let us know. Yeah, thank you. To get the goal implement. Thank you.
Just one question. Under the category of inspired learners, food security and all that kind of stuff like that, does that come under there at all, or? Yeah, may not be a direct something that inspires, but it definitely affects our learners.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think there's pieces in both goal priority 1 and 2 that touch on the healthy learner piece, like the healthy and resilient and also equity in terms of socioeconomic status and other factors. So I think it touches in.
I know kind of dovetails a few of them.
Yeah. So I think it comes in both. It's summarized and reported out differently, but that's a really good note maybe for us to consider carrying forward as we consider a refreshed strat plan. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any more questions? Yes, you may. You may have a brief comment.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for that, for indulging me. Typically, it's only you only hear from the board, but I just wanted to, 2 days ago, I think it was, we had a call with folks from the ministry. Crystal was on that call. And one of the conversations, they've scheduled these meetings with school districts across the province. And it's again, just to provide feedback around the FESO report. And I know that the board will have the opportunity to dig deeper into that report. One of the things they talked about that, it resonated with me, is the all vertical and horizontal alignment in districts. And one of the things they recognize that happens in our districts, and the reason I'm mentioning this is twofold. One is to commend the work that staff in this district, working with our partners, and we have partners in this room, and I think you heard one example of how the RTA that supports in terms of our literacy. And I just want to mention that because I think that that's really important for us to recognize that the partners in this organization and what the board values, and the board makes a considered effort always to make sure that partners are always connected to the work we do. So that vertical and horizontal alignment, the vertical speaks to how the work that happens in each school connects to the strategic plan. And the horizontal alignment talks about all the other stuff that creates the conditions for learning, our facilities, technology, on all those pieces, because we recognize that learning only happens when everybody's pulling together. Students need safe, clear spaces, effective spaces, and good resources to be able to do their work and to learn and to succeed. They need caring adults in those spaces. So it's everybody pulling together. And I know that we all understand that and we all believe that, but I think it's really important. When these reports come to the board, this reflects everyone in the organization doing this work, and the senior leadership obviously are connected to that work and the work we do. When I go to schools, and we actually learn each day. We learn from students, we learn from staff, we learn from just the richness in that that happens across the district. So I just wanted to make sure that there's a recognition, and I know that we do this work, and I know that you're dealing with folks who are professionals and who are competent. But I would, it's really important for us to acknowledge that everything that you see in these reports reflect a significant contribution from everyone in this organization. So I just wanted to make that and thank my colleagues because as the board is well aware, this strategic plan has been in place since 2000. And now we are looking at the tail end of that. But we're going to build on that because it's not like we're moving away from all of this. We're still going to talk about equity and inclusion. We're still going to talk about literacy. We're still going to talk about numeracy. So all these things we'll talk about, but at the same time, we're going to look at how, as we move forward, the opportunities to look at teaching and learning differently in ways that continue to empower students so more students achieve success. So thank you very much for indulging me.
Thank you. All right, folks, thank you very much for the presentation. So there is no new business. We move on to item 9, questions from the public. Members of the public are invited to come forward with questions regarding agenda item.
All right. Liz Baverstock, President, Richmond Teachers Association. And the question I have actually does relate to the strategic plan tonight, but also correspondence that I did send to the Board of Education in regards to the joint statement of support for SOGI and the SOGI policy. But I actually would like to start just by reflecting on exactly what has been said about the importance of the joint work that we do together, that we as partners, and even tonight being highlighted, the work of RTA and Human Resources to come up with a settlement agreement to use some classroom enhancement funds that were there to support the literacy and numeracy initiatives that are taking place in schools. Both elementary and secondary. And it was a real joy tonight to see the students from Mitchell and the educators who, that's what it's all about. Them coming together and showing you the games and the inspiration that they're getting from those games in terms of numeracy and math and all of those foundational things. So it is a real pleasure to be a partner in this organization, but that is what's so important. And so we saw Inspired Learners, we saw an update on the equity portion of the strategic plan. And really that is what our letter is about. It's about equity and it's about inclusion. And up to the last 2 years, the Board of Education has partnered with all of the partner groups to do a joint statement of support. And so, I do absolutely appreciate the letter from the board chair and the superintendent that went out to the whole Richmond community. But I do think it's missing, and I do think it's missing the entire Board of Education, and it's missing the partner groups. And so my question really tonight is, can we do this together? Because that's how we've always done things. We are partners in public education, and it is our goal to make sure that every single person in this organization, employee, student, community member, parent, feels valued, respected, and safe in our schools. And there has been a lot of continued attack on students and how they identify. And it is important that we continue to make these statements of support. And so for those reasons, I'm here tonight to ask that. And that is the reason for my letter. And obviously, I will leave that for you to have in your discussions. But I do think this is important that we do come together. We've done it before and we need to do it again. And I also know that every single trustee in their candidate statements that they gave to the Richmond Teachers Association did endorse or affirm their commitment to the SOGI policy. So for those reasons, I'm here tonight and ask for you to join us in getting a statement of support joint. Thank you.
Trustee Blatney?
Yes, just wondering if the chair can clarify who the letter was from, because when the chairperson writes, it is on behalf of the board, and I believe the letter did say that. So just wanted to make it clear that our chair is writing on our behalf. We were behind that letter.
Yeah, no, when the board chair signs, it's behalf of all the trustees, but it's not on behalf of all the
No.
partner groups.
It
But
was on behalf
definitely
of
on
all.
behalf of the trustees. And so, and on that note, we will refer this to staff
Mhm.
because they're good at sort of working this stuff, and then we will get back to you.
Thank you. And I do appreciate that clarity. That is important that the community hears that. So thank you.
Any questions for Liz? She runs. No? Go ahead. Donna.
Well, I just think, I just want to reaffirm what trustee Tablani said. A chair cannot write on behalf of the board
No.
unless the board approves it. And so I guess what Ms. Baverstock is saying is we need to clarify that, but this is not on behalf of only the chair. This was a board directive, a full board directive to write a letter of support with 7 trustees affirming that commitment. So I didn't realize that people think that it could just be an individual chair, but a chair can never speak.
Oh.
If the chair is speaking on behalf of himself or herself, then it says that.
I would be.
But when it says chair, it's the board. Thank you.
No. All right. No more questions from the public. We're moving on to our standing committee reports. Audit Committee, Chairperson, or sorry, Trustee Yang.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
Education Committee, Trustee Larson.
Thank you very much. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January the 15th at 6 o'clock.
And I chair the Facilities and Building Committee. Meeting was held Wednesday, December 4th. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January the 8th, 2025, 30 p.m. Looking at Finance and Legal, Trustee Sargent.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be January 15th at 10 a.m.
Okay, moving on to Policy Committee, we got some work here. Trustee Tablotny.
You do. Okay, the first one is 101-R strategic planning. And I will move the recommendation, if someone can second, that the Board of Education approve revised policy 101R strategic planning in accordance with Board Policy 204, creation and revision of policy and regulations.
Yeah, I believe Trustee Larson seconded.
Okay. So this policy that we're bringing forward is just minor revisions to the policy and the regulations. It is to comply with some of the DEI, with the DEI lens, and also with, some of our terminology for our Indigenous context, such as stakeholder, we're changing that to partner group because it has quite a negative connotation. So there's a few changes such as those, and they're minor. So we're looking for to approve the policy here without going into stakeholder review.
Are there any questions? Trustee Sergeant?
Yeah, thank you. And it just sort of hit me that there's more than policy strategic planning that references partner groups and stakeholders. So will policy be looking at why this one is because we're embarking on the next one? And I'm assuming, but wouldn't we be taking a whole look at all of our policies?
Yes.
Okay.
In a nutshell, yes. We have been doing this and we're bringing them forward on a regular basis to approve those changes in accordance with the.
Okay, because this district believes, I'm sure the word stakeholder is through everything. And so it would be important to change them all. And I'm just wondering if that can almost be, if we made a motion or something like that, that all our policies change the word. It's just something for policy to think about, and the superintendent, we might be able to do a lump that all policies with the word stakeholder be changed to partner.
Can just, to be clear though, there are other changes. There's some colonial words in some of the wording. I think it's a fair process, and so that's why they're coming kind of separately and being done this way. It'll take some time, but it's good work. Correct?
Yeah, through the chair, very good. Thank you very much, Trustee Sergeant, for your question. We're actually doing exactly that, and I think you heard the chair of Policy Committee, Trustee Toblatny, mention that we are actually going to be systematically bringing these reports to board. So we've prioritized, and so for some meetings will be it will be one policy. Other meetings might be 2 or 3, but throughout the year you'll see current policies again being sort of refreshed, if I may use that term, to ensure that not only the language around the stakeholder component, but that we have the partner group language there, but not only just partner group, but as the chair indicated, also making sure that language that is not appropriate, or that was appropriate at the time, that times have evolved, that we make sure that our policies reflect current language.
All right. Any more questions? Not seeing any more questions. All in favor of recommendation? Okay, all opposed? Carried. And we have another recommendation.
I have another one, and this one's a little more extensive. I'll move the recommendation that Policy Committee recommends to the Board of Education that revised Policy 102, Diversity and Inclusion, be referred to partner group review process for the period of December 12th, 2024 to February 28th, 2025. And these are the staff revisions. They're focused on the board's commitment to strategic priority 2, equity and inclusion. And it was first adopted in 2009. But over the course of time, as things change, they need to be aligned. Of course, also with the DEI checklist and such. And so it has been to Policy Committee. And it has had trustee feedback. So at this point, we're wanting to move it into the partner group process.
I'm looking for a seconder. Second by Trustee Yang. Any discussion, questions? Being that there's no discussion, no questions, all in favor of the recommendation? Not gonna repeat it. All opposed? All right, recommendation is carried. Thank you very much.
Our next meeting, I lost it. Our next meeting is January 13th, 9:30. And I want to thank the Policy Committee because there's, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of reading and a lot of discussing, and, we don't just move this stuff along lightly. So thank you all very much. And it's one of the most important things we do.
Having been on the Policy Committee I agree, it's a lot of work and a lot of reading. And I take my hat off to all you because I have a hard time being on that committee. I'm not as good at that kind of stuff, so thank you. Moving on to our board committee and representative reports. This is sort of old. Council Board Liaison meeting held November 6th. I think we discussed it at the last board meeting. Same with the BCSDA Trustee Academy that was held in November. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't. It happened afterwards. Trustee Yang, you want to mention anything about the Trustee Academy?
Perhaps I could, if you want to defer to Trustee Larson as the rep for.
Yeah, sure. It was an excellent academy, and it was organized a little bit different this year, so it allowed us to attend all of the seminars, and it was very knowledgeable and lots of information. It's really good.
Great. Moving on to BCPC, Trustee DeBlotny, you're our rep for that one.
Yep, the one and only. And I shall be attending the annual general meeting, January 30th to 31st, and Trustee Sargent will be there with her, as she's on the BCPC board, so there'll be two of us there.
Thank you very much. As for correspondence, we have correspondence for information. We have a letter from the RTA, which has been apparently posted on our website already, and it is being referred to staff for further action. And on that note, can I get a yes?
Do we need a motion to refer to staff? It's usually how we.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Why not?
Now move.
Moves by Trustee DeBlotny. Seconder, Trustee Yang. Any discussion? All right. Oh, and a quick word though.
Yeah, just a quick word. Just want to thank RTA for bringing this up, and we'll have further discussions about that. But particularly, it was a good reminder in the letter that all 7 of us did pledge or declare our support for Policy 106, and that's certainly important to me. That position has not changed for me. I'm certainly still in support of that policy. I can't speak for other trustees, but that's certainly the case for me, and I think it's really important that we affirm that at the right opportunities to ensure that our communities are respected and safe, and our spaces are inclusive. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
All right. And on that note, I have one more. On behalf of the board,
Need to vote.
We need to vote.
do we vote? Okay, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? Carried. All right, as we wind down the night, on behalf of the board, we want to wish everyone the best of the New Year's. Happy holidays, best of the New Year. However you celebrate, we hope you have a good one. And I would like to end off with trustees. Is there anything you'd like to say, or the final word for the last meeting of the year? Now's your opportunity. Anyone? All right. Oh, Trustee Larson.
I would just like to say that the work that we do in collaboration with everybody, not just using the word, but truly listening and working towards what we all believe and what's best for the students is just never ending, and it's really special and it's real. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you. And I'm going to take the opportunity to write what Tiffany had written on the page. As we approach the winter break, the Board of Education wishes to extend its warmest wishes for our students, families, and staff for a peaceful and joyous winter holiday season. We are deeply fortunate to have much dedication and passionate students, supportive families, and exceptional staff who contribute to the vibrancy of our educational community. May this holiday season bring you all the joy, relaxation, and quality time spent with the loved ones that you deserve. And once again, we feel very fortunate to be associated with you folks out there. It's nice that we have a common goal and that we're all committed to working towards it. And as I said, it's a pleasure working with all of you. So it's been a good been an interesting 2024, I think, and we're looking forward to 2025. And on that note, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to adjourn this meeting. Moved by trustee Larson, second by trustee Wong, all in favor? Carried. Everyone, drive home safely. Have a good night. It is icy out there probably, so take care. Is it cold out there?
Better not.
No snow yet.
Still above